Who is the girl with the twinkle in her eyes? It's Tammy, the ideal teen.
Who's got everything you dream about? Who is tops without a doubt?
It's Tammy, Tammy, she's the ideal teen.
And you say it ain't bad, don't need it. Say no, don't need it. Say no, just say no to drugs, defeat it. Have a life that's happy, a future that's bright. You'll make it happen, drugs are wrong and you're right. Just beat it, just beat it, beat it. Say no, no, and defeat it, beat it. Ooh.
Breaking news here with a guest.
Hello?
Hello, yes, I have Mr. Trump on standby. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. Hello, everyone.
We have the president here, our real president, everyone. Hello, Mr. President.
MacronShow.com, bitches. MacronShow.com.
Okay.
All right.
I
Sorry,
guess that
folks.
wasn't. I guess that was. You see what they're doing? They're attacking us. They're attacking us, and this is what.
But I don't doubt for a minute these people who work for President Bush, who I disagree with and everything, they believe that stuff, John. This is not
Here's
a
what I
lie
think.
or deception at all.
I think they believe
in him.
I think they believe.
Just like I believe in my guys.
I think they believe President Bush would do a better job, and I believe the Kerry guys believe President Kerry would do a better job. But what I believe is they're not making honest arguments. So what they're doing is, in their mind, the ends justify the means.
I hate
So, at all.
I do think you're more fun on your show. Just my opinion.
But
Okay, John Stewart goes one-on-one with his fans.
You're as big a dick on your show as you are on any show.
Now you're getting into it.
This is a top to what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the
and then
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I'm coming out of the record. Play the record, okay? Please. See, when you come out of those up-tempo goddamn numbers, man, it's impossible to make those transitions. And then you got to go into somebody dying. They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for, but goddamn it, if we can't come out of a slow record, I don't understand it. Is Don on the phone? Okay, I want a goddamn concerted effort to come out of a record that isn't a fucking up-tempo record every time I do a goddamn death dedication.
Well, Tammy, how have you been? I haven't heard your voice in probably 40 years or something.
Probably.
30 years. But of course, we keep in touch through social media,
Yes.
anti-social media.
Sometimes it is, huh?
Sometimes. Totally off the record, but who do you hate from our graduating class? Go ahead, just go through the list. None of this will make the air. I just want to know the names of people. We'll compare notes.
I don't know. I don't
pretty
think huge is that word.
Okay. How about?
I mean, you could say who presently might not be your favorites.
How about extreme ambivalence? You have extreme ambivalence toward anyone? Both of you, you two are like the nicest people I think I've probably ever met. Just nice as in nice.
Thank you.
I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that as
I really
a slam.
don't. That's why when things start to get a little political, I'm that person that types out, tap, tap, tap. I'm angry. And then I turn around and erase it. Okay, it's already out of my system.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start problems.
I do that sometimes too. I'll type like 3 paragraphs.
Right.
And then I'll realize, okay, I said everything I needed to say.
Right.
Well, we've been busy. She came to town. We have one of those power chairs for the steps, and we don't need it anymore. And she knows somebody who has need for it. And so she came to get that. And because she's that was fun. Thank goodness my brother is here and help, because that thing's a beast.
Those things drive me up the wall.
I mean, it's a beast. It is so heavy. We're talking hundreds of pounds of iron.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, they literally drive me up the wall. as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you get to reuse it.
Repurpose.
Repurpose it. Excuse me.
And that'll be great. Help keep somebody else doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the entryway, there was wallpaper that, in my view, never would have been nice. It was something that my mother had selected 27 years ago. And she had finally agreed that that could come down. So we took it down with Tammy as our team leader.
Nice. I imagine that's a project.
Oh, it went fast. We got done.
Oh, you're done. Wow. Okay. I thought you were looking forward to it.
No.
Oh.
I told her, well, I'm here. Let's do it. And she was like,
okay. Well, it's one of those things. I do not like taking down wallpaper, and I've never had any luck. Anything else that I've tried to take down in this house, you would swear it was put up with super glue. There was some trim in that little room that even that system wouldn't have worked. It was just atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. So yeah, all that's left is one more wipe down with soap to get the residual glue off, and then Tammy said she'd come back and help paint.
Wow.
She'll be moving her pasty.
I think she said pasties.
Excuse me? Removing a... Now I'm really sorry I don't have a camera here.
After she removes her pasties, she's going to come back and help me.
What?
Tammy's multifaceted. She's got a lot
I think you have
going
to dance. I think there's a dance in there somewhere, isn't there? In between the
Yeah.
pasties and the...
We did the happy dance when we were done.
Oh, we did. Then we had a little natter days, a little pineapple lemonade natter days.
Well, I'd like to believe you, but if I don't have video, I don't know if I can really believe that it
Just gotta
happened.
take us at our word.
They were delicious.
Yeah?
I was surprised. Not crazy about fruit in my beer, but it was good.
It was a pineapple lemonade adult beverage.
Okay.
After this,
Yeah.
we're going to go to the store that has the great big, like 8 feet tall metal Bigfoot.
Oh,
Sasquatch.
If you don't take a photo of that, ... I need that.
Well, the three of us are all from the same hometown. The three of us all went to school together.
Are we talking on the record yet? Because we should probably introduce Tammy if we are.
Well,
But,
sure.
You know, we usually kind of do a soft opening with the show. We just kind of start in the middle of a conversation. But in this case, maybe we should. Introductions all around.
My name is not what I was when I was in high school, so yeah, I don't care.
Excited. You're Tammy BB to us.
Tammy BB?
Tammy BB.
That works for me.
Hey, everybody. We would like to welcome our very first guest to the podcast. She is a really good friend of ours from home we grew up with. She happens to be visiting to help me with some home projects here. So, everybody, this is Tammy at our house. She's Tammy BB. Here's her last name, has B's. So welcome, Tammy. Funny, kind, sweet, and hilarious.
Keep going, keep going.
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, hello,
I
everybody.
got a pretty high standard.
And a really, really hard worker. I would not have gotten through one of the projects had she not said, let's do it, and just drove the project through.
Cool.
I'm the bulldozer. That's part of the B.
You know, I started thinking, is the term maiden name like something we shouldn't be saying in these woke times? Does maiden...
I suppose you
does
could say
maiden
family
imply...
name.
Well, if I really wanted
Yeah.
to be, if you really wanted to be technical about it, it would be TBFB.
Okay. Sounds like a sports bar.
3 marriages.
Who's F? Why don't I remember the F?
Wait, 3 marriages you said, or 2 marriages?
2 marriages.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the most recent is successful.
And now I'm just playing.
Yeah. Now she's just out there on the field. No.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know these things.
Yes.
Okay. So you're happily married.
First marriage
The
was
second
an
time around.
F.
That was young. That was young.
That was young.
Young,
right.
young.
And then the second one, I'm a B again.
She reclaimed her B.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't have to
And we
change
don't mean bottom.
your luggage. Whoa. Wow.
Bottom
Where'd
and
this
off
come
like
from?
this.
TLBFB.
Yeah. Well, I think because men don't have maiden names, so doesn't it imply that, you know, like virgin or not virgin?
No,
Had to put
well, there was
a fine point on it.
Well, if that's the case, then I have two, and that means you definitely ain't a virgin.
It's not legally binding. It's just me,
I broke up with a guy one time. We had been dating for a long time, and it's pretty serious, and he talked about marriage a little bit, and I said I wanted to keep my name. No. Said, well, we can talk maybe hyphenating, but I'll go by. No. Gotta take my name. I said no, and that was the end of that.
Wow. Good for you. I don't get that.
I don't.
I mean, your name's your name.
It's rather antiquated.
It's from when women were seen as property. The good old days, as the Republicans refer to them.
And I didn't want to go back to my maiden name because my children have my name.
Yeah.
And it's so confusing for schools to go, oh, Mrs. So-and-so. Nope, my name is this. Well,
there's a family member.
It's hard.
Who had divorced when her children were very young. And so she kept that name until the children were old enough and out of school. And then she went back to the family name.
Huh. No, I couldn't do that. Because then my kids, their friends that know me now, know me by my name. So.
Say my name, say my name. Sing the song, girl. Sing that song.
Say my name, say my name. I really can't do that much. That's actually
Bammy,
the first
Bammy.
of a singing voice
Bammy.
since COVID.
But then you've got a situation like the actor Susan Sarandon. Sarandon was married in the 70s. She got married to Chris Sarandon, the actor, and they were only married for like a year or two. But for some reason, she kept his last name. So now, 50 years later, I don't know, it's peculiar. Maybe she was already getting a foot into the business and thought by changing her name, she would lose it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, if I had a trademark on something, I would definitely not be changing my name.
No, I like my name.
Well, I liked my given name.
Yeah.
But, property. I became property twice.
I think even when I was in my early 20s and was engaged, that was, even at that time, was an issue. I would have had to have hyphenated, even at that young age. We were talking before, about Sasquatch and in our hometown and how there were certain places that people would always report to sightings in Nebraska.
Yes. And we're from our hometown was about, I think, 35,000 when we were growing up. It's a little bit larger than that now.
Yeah. We are now a metropolis.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it's not a city, not what people from cities would consider a city, but it's also not the country. So it's not, and it's not the woods, certainly. So the idea of
you can drive from one end of town to the other end of town in 12 minutes.
Seriously? And good luck staying awake. That's the most boring 12 minutes you'll ever spend.
That's right.
But it's not exactly the place where you would expect to see 7-foot tall hairy hominids running around.
Yes, right.
Well, I was talking, do you remember you would come in town on 34, and on that little curve, there was just that short patch of trees that went over the road. They've all been cut down because they redid that section, but I remember people always saying that was a hot spot.
Huh. Did you ever go to Hamburger Beach?
What?
Okay, you must have not.
Where's Hamburger Beach?
Over by that area where we used to climb the fence and...
What you're telling us is that you broke the law.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations has passed.
Exactly, yes.
So tell.
I mean, one thing you must know about Mary is that she has always towed the line. Okay? Right? Am I right, Mary? Am I saying anything out of school here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is correct.
Most of the time.
That's me.
Holy Mary.
That might be pushing things.
So anybody who was having a party, one of these illicit parties, they probably would have kept Mary off the invite list.
That's true.
Out of respect.
That's right.
To her sensitivities, yeah.
Well, that's because I wasn't a partier and the position that my father held. They knew well enough to know I probably would have told on them because I liked him more than them.
But, and again, I'm sure the statute of limitations has ended for this, but the big blowout party, didn't we have a big graduation night blowout party where like a police car got smashed or something and
yes
local news the next day? Were you girls there? You were not there. Okay. I wasn't either.
I was.
I got to revise this whole.
Well,
I think I need to revise my opinion.
I was there, but I wasn't drinking. Well, what was weird is some older people all of a sudden showed up, and in this van there were people there smoking marijuana and doing other things, and then it was out in the country, out kind of by the river. So I have no idea how anybody found out. This was well before cell phones. And all of a sudden, I don't know how many police cars showed up. We ran off, got my leg cut on a barbed wire fence. Got blood on my favorite pair of socks. It was a tragedy. But yeah, I don't know who messed with the police cars. And somebody said that even one of the rifles got stolen out of the back window.
That I couldn't tell you.
You know, you never know when it goes from truth to all of a sudden lore.
Of course.
But we made that party made the Omaha paper.
Oh, really? I remember seeing it in the local newspaper. Why? Because of the police cars, I guess? Is that the
Yes.
angle? Destroying police property? Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, too bad. I'm glad I wasn't a part of that.
I'm sure, once
Are
the
you sure you weren't
fingerprints
there?
I was
come
not
back.
there. I can tell you exactly where I was at.
Oh, where were you, Tam?
I was at another friend's house on 4th Street, and we were just sitting there chillaxing, having a few
Let me put
brews.
it, yeah, because I was going to say the dimples are out. Y'all have never seen Tammy, but she's got these dimples, right?
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
it's almost when that smile happens, you know, there's something more to the story that I think we should delve into.
Huh.
Tammy?
Like I said, we were just chilling. There was nothing happening. Had a few drinks, and that was it.
Could your friends corroborate this story, Tammy?
Yes, she could.
Okay.
Can you give initials?
TL.
Huh.
TL. Oh, the TL Payne? No, that's T-Pain.
It's just T-Pain.
Tina Leverington.
Is there a TL Hughley? I'm thinking of DL.
DL.
Yeah. I'm not good at this name game.
Yeah, we were at her house just relaxing. Huh. Our party never had the policemen there. And you know why? Because they were all on the other side of town.
They were all out at the river. Well, I don't think if you knew the people that I rode out there with, a couple more innocents, K, G, and GW.
Okay.
I think is who I went out there with.
The nice girls.
Yeah.
Who were the not nice girls? Go ahead. Start. Tammy, you start. Throw a name out there. Some
yes, I
girl you
wanna-
hate.
No. We were last night. We were talking about and this one. We're just even going to leave. I'm going to leave initials out of the game. But teenage girls being teenage girls, and how one day you're best friends with everybody, and the next day you show up at school and nobody's talking to you, and you didn't do anything, but every girl gets their turn.
Yeah.
About people that we'd been friends with, and then all of a sudden,
Growing up from age of birth, and then you go to junior high, and all of a sudden you're cornered, and they want to kick your behind, and you don't know why.
because you didn't do anything. Yeah, it was just that you show up and nobody's talking to you.
You're getting pushed into lockers.
See, that didn't happen. There was
That happened to
no
me.
physicality.
Yeah.
No, that's unfortunate.
Mine, they even tried to break into a little old lady's house to get a hold of me. She was trying to save me. She called the police.
Oh, my word.
When we were at Walnut, 9th grade year.
Dear old Walnut, dear old Walnut school, I love that. 2, 3, 4. With your colors flying high, we'll win o'er all the rah, rah, rah. And it goes on from there.
Yes.
Hold for PTSD flashbacks.
I know, for the size of the pom-poms, they were those huge double-barrel pom-poms. They were awkward. They weren't heavy, but they were awkward.
I was not a cheerleader then. I was a nobody.
What was your clique? Everybody has a clique. Well, Tammy, what was your clique? Or were you in more than one? Because you can be more than one. You have 1 foot in one. I kind of kept a foot in every one of them. Like I was friends with the druggies, although I wasn't necessarily a druggie. I was friends with the nerds, but I wasn't necessarily a nerd. So
Yeah,
I knew some jocks, but I was far from jock.
I can't really say that I was in a clique because I had a job from the age of 8, and it was a family business, and
the most amazing food, and unfortunately it's not there anymore.
I remember it. I used to go there too.
yeah, and so I always had to work. I mean, I would get off of school, and I had to be there if I had music or something afterwards, I would have to be at work by 5. So I really didn't hang except for Skate Island.
Are they fixing the roof?
They're still waiting on insurance, but it's falling in more, and the sides are caving in. It's really sad to drive by and see it.
Oh.
Skate Island is the name of the skating rink that is still in our hometown and was a very formative place for our youth. I mean, all three of us, we weren't in the same group, but all three of us, I think, have the skating as a...
yeah, it was.
It was a part of our lives.
Absolutely. A huge part of mine. A huge part. Every Friday night. I guess during the winter there was a huge collapse of the roof collapsed because of snow, I guess, and so they're dealing with that, and they don't know. They're still in the air about whether they're going to be able to reopen or not, but I think they probably will.
They've got the floor covered, so with all the rain and all the extra rain that we've had this year, and the
spring snow, they've got that covered, but the building is collapsing more upon itself. So what they thought was structurally good is turning out not to be so much now because of the weight. But we're hoping to save it.
Are you involved in the
Actually
cleanup committee or whatever?
What they have asked for the community to do is to wait and see what happens with insurance, and then we can proceed with GoFundMe pages or fundraisers or different things going on. But I am not directly involved with that. No.
Maybe there'll be an enchilada feed.
That's a lot of enchiladas.
Apparently, I've yet to sample them myself. But apparently, Miss Tammy makes fantastic enchiladas.
Well, we do it in a restaurant.
Yeah. Someday, maybe. I'm not holding my breath, but I am holding out. Oh, the theater, the haunted theater. I've heard that the Grand is haunted. Did you ever have?
I did.
See, I was thinking that I remembered you telling me.
Yes. We were working at the theater, and it was only me and another gentleman.
But this is a great historic theater.
Yes.
In downtown, in our hometown.
Art Deco. It's one of the old palace kind of theaters that you don't exist anymore. 600 seats or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's volunteer run, but we had vacuumed, left the vacuum door open, and it was closed. Opened it again because it's just a hassle to pull on the door, and it was closed again. It was like, what the heck? 3 times. And so I was like, why do you keep closing the door? And the gentleman that I was working with was like, it's time to go. So we left. And then after we were outside the building, he told me, yeah, that was our friend. It was time for us to leave. Crazy, but it's fun to be.
I've seen enough of these ghost hunter shows. I think what you did wrong was what you're supposed to do is turn out the lights first.
Oh, yeah.
And then get startled by a sound and then run and then end of show.
But
right.
Well, somebody.
But you don't ever see anything.
Oh, no. Because the lights are out.
Had the big thing at the concession stand.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
I don't
remember the whole
can't really
story.
tell his story, but yeah, he had that, and he was there by himself. But there's also they like to trick. There's a bunch of tricksters there. So there's a doll, and she's probably about 2-3 foot tall, maybe like a little toddler. And they move her around, and they like to scare the bejeebies out of people. And I just told them, and I gave them fair warning, if I'm ever going to be a director on the night that I'm directing, do not scare me, because that will be the last time that I will be volunteering as a director.
I would be saying, get the doll out of the theater.
No, she stays in the money room when I'm there. That's it.
I'd want her out of the theater unless that would make them angry.
But they also move John Wayne around. There's a big John Wayne figure there, cardboard cutout, and they move him around too and scare the bejeebies out of people. And I told them too, again, don't ever do that to me.
Why don't you take the doll out, disappear it for a few days, a couple of weeks maybe until people kind of forget about it, and then sneak it into the homes of one of the people who've been trying to prank you, and just leave it there. Or on the windowsill.
Nobody's been pranking her. That's the thing. She said, do not. Oh,
well, the people that you suspect, you got to be offensive if you want to. Best defense is the offense, right? Isn't that what they say?
True.
Yes.
So, and we know that Boo makes every show, as he should. When Tammy got here yesterday, Boo was greeting, and we weren't really sure. By this morning, Tammy stayed across in my son's room. Kid's got to give up his room.
Oh.
And so by today, little Boo was barking. He kept wanting her to come in his room. So she'd come in and say hello and talk to him for a minute. She'd leave there, and he was all kinds of happy. She'd leave the room, and he'd start barking. He just kept wanting her to come back and visit.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Yeah.
He is.
He's snoozing right now.
He's meditating.
Oh, meditating. That's it.
Yes. He's very centered.
Is he doing downward facing dog?
Downward dog.
Although he actually
does he just call it downward facing?
He does that. I have a picture of it somewhere. He really does. He does yoga. He meditates.
Isn't he afraid of that's going to unleash satanic forces? Because I've heard that. Oh, really? Because I think Mike Huckabee was telling me about that.
Oh, well, then I'm sure it's true.
Pretty sure. Speaking of which, have you checked out Mike Lindell's new venture? Mike Lindell is the MyPillow guy, of course. The insane,
and political advisor to Donald Trump.
Yes, and that too. Well, he
launched.
launched.
He cannot tuck in a shirt.
He can't.
And it gets complicated.
He's got a few problems. Former crack addict. You left that out. Former, possibly current. We don't know. Anyway, he was so angry about being kicked off of every social media platform for his incendiary views that he started his own social media platform called Frank. It just launched this week. Oh boy. And the deal is no censorship. Frank is going to be Frank talk, no censorship, except no swearing. Can't take the Lord's name in vain.
You can't tell the truth.
So other than that, completely
no
freedom.
Facts
free
allowed.
Speech. Well, naturally he was up and running, and within 20 minutes people were pranking him. It's amazing. Somebody pranked him. This is actually going to be in the intro. Somebody called pretending to be Donald Trump, and you see his face turn into this, oh my God, Daddy's on the phone. He just melts. He melts into a puddle of Lindell. And of course, it's not really. Anyway. Oh, Mike, we love you, Mike.
Oh my God.
Poor Mikey was shattered.
The voice of free speech. No swear, no porn, no porn, no swearing, no taking the Lord's name in vain. Those are the only 3 rules. Otherwise, free speech.
No facts.
Well, facts are,
no truth.
Facts are discretionary.
Yes. So are you thinking of joining the new America First caucus if little Margie gets her way, backed up by Maddie Gates and Gossard?
I think I have to do a whiteness test first, though. I'm a little worried that I might have Irish in my blood.
You
which
might
would
not
make
be
me not
Anglo-Saxon
white.
enough.
Yeah. Which is, it's a fair cop. I understand you got to have rules. You got to have a cutoff,
That's true.
So
I can't join.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and
I can't join that club.
I'll bet you were looking so forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure they have great meetings. I'm sure they have great enchiladas.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, they're gonna have it. They'll eat the food. They just don't want you in the club.
Oh, could you imagine? What
Bless
is
their
that
little
I'm saying? I don't want to join any club that would have me as a member.
That's a Groucho.
Yeah.
But I actually, for real, feel that way. Like things that I'm passionate about that have, like, let's say wrestling, for instance, or horror films or comic books. I don't want to be in a room full of comic book fans. I don't want to be in a room full of, you know what I mean? It's like my enjoyment of what I'm in, or Bigfoot fans. Oh, God help me. I would not want to be in a room full of Bigfoot
Have you
hunters.
seen the new blow-up wrestling dolls? They're about 3 feet tall.
This wouldn't fall into the porn category, right? Because there's no porn, and there's no swearing,
They're
and
all
there's
in their
no...
little uniforms, and you're just supposed to beat the crap out of each other with them.
Yes.
Okay.
We just saw the commercial last night and kind of had a little chuckle about it.
Oh, so, seriously? I don't even, honestly, and I feel the only, Daniel Bryan, was the Undertaker one of them?
I don't remember.
There were 5 or 6. You'll have to look it up.
Wait, they're inflatable ones? Because they used to have
That's what I
like
said. They're
stuffed
inflatables
toys.
that are about 3 feet tall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they used to have, I think they were called wrestling buddies. Those were a big thing where they were probably, they might, 2.5 years or whatever. They were like plush, kind of like plush toys, but cloth covered, not plush, but cloth covered. Yeah, and the idea was,
these are inflatable.
wow. Yeah. Okay, well, I hope they don't fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah, it shows this family beating the crap out of each other with them. Well, that's good family fun.
Now, do they have the lady wrestlers as well?
No.
Yeah, because I could see that being a problem.
It's just the fellas.
Just the dudes.
I could see 12-year-old boys. It's sort of like do you remember a few years ago there was when Harry Potter was the big thing. There was which I guess spans several years, but
yes,
during that span they put a product on the market for kids, and it was the broom that he rides on. I forget what it's
called. The Nimbus 2000.
Thank you, nerd. So the broom he rides on, and it vibrated. It vibrated as you. Yeah. So look this up. I'll try to find a link to the original Amazon link, because people had so much fun in the comments section because, well, I think it was it started with a reality. The situation was that young girls, especially, I think, found it to be a multi-purpose toy. And so the comment section kind of reflects that. And it's really hilarious. I don't think they pulled the market because it's like, what can you do? I mean, that's not what it was intended, but we just ran with it. Anyway, that's kind of what
they
it
just
reminds me
started
of.
selling it at different stores.
They, yeah.
It came only from specialty shops.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, they're asking if we can make this an XL.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Noah, get the boat.
Here you go. Wait.
Yeah, they are called wrestling buddies, but they're these. Was that Hulk?
That was the Hulk.
So Hulk Hogan.
Cheese Manellis.
Pull the string, and Hulk says 3 racist phrases.
Had that reality show before.
Oh, the Hogans?
His wife started dating the son. Was it the son or the daughter's friend? The son's friend.
I think it was the son's friend. Oh, yeah. They're when you think of a Florida family, I think you're thinking of those people. They've got the son. He didn't kill somebody, but he was drunk and driving. I think.
Drive. Yeah. What is that driving when you slide out sideways? Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah. But he ended up not killing the person, but the person's a quadriplegic.
Yeah. Well, it basically was in a vegetative state. I don't know if he's gotten any better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as far as there's plenty of things to dislike Hulk Hogan about, but my own opinion is the racist phone calls should be off limits, only because it was supposed to be a private conversation. And, now that we know that he's that way, it's like, well, I think of you differently, but it's not like I'm giving him a pass for saying it, but it's sort of like when celebrity nudes, get hacked, and you can't blame the person for taking the photo. If they sent a photo of themselves to their boyfriend or whatever and expected it to be private.
That's a little different, though.
Private.
If he's truly a racist and he's all kinds of willing to take everybody's money so that he can become wealthier, and he'll pretend and maybe take a photo with you while he's actually seething at the idea of having to stand near you, that's kind of crappy.
Yeah. Although specifically what he did was he was angry at his daughter and he left a message voicemail, right? And it was it's awful. I mean,
no. Okay.
The guy said, but
I don't know the story.
I mean, look, there's plenty of reasons to not like the guy, I think. Not to be fair, but a 75-year-old guy born and raised in Florida, a white guy, do we really expect he wouldn't be racist? I mean, not to let him off the hook, but it's just, why would that surprise people, I guess?
There wasn't, to my memory, a whole lot of diversity in our hometown growing up.
Oh, no.
On my side, it was.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, at least.
On my side of town, there was. East of the tracks, there was.
Right. But as far as black people, there were, I think, 2 black families. Is that, from what I remember, there was a Lee family and a Washington family. That's what I remember. I'm sorry, there was a Cloud family. Excuse me. There was Cloud also.
Right.
So that's what I remember. Maybe there were more. I just don't remember. But we're talking, of 600, what is that? Less than 1%.
Right.
But yes, Hispanic was probably, 30%?
Well, actually, there was two areas in Grand Island, and we didn't really know each other, even though we were there. And then now it's like, oh yeah, I remember you now. I remember you growing up on that side of town, and they were clear to the west in a little area.
We weren't allowed to come visit you because you're on the other side, literally the other side of the tracks.
Literally past 3 sets of tracks.
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought that phrase, the wrong side of the tracks, was specific to my hometown. I really did, because there literally were railroad tracks, and at least the perception was that certain people lived on this side of the tracks and certain people lived on the other side of the tracks. Obviously, that's not true, but that was a perception. And so it took me a long time to realize, that's a real phrase.
Everybody from that side of town. And
yeah.
There was that one. So when you came across to the other side and they said, oh, you're going to cause problems because you're over here. And there's never any problems on my side of town because, everybody says, what's that term? You don't shit where you live.
Oh, yeah. I remember the one.
Uh-oh. Mary's never.
Wasn't it Sycamore Street?
Yeah.
And people always said, don't go back in there. Whatever the neighborhood was back there.
Yeah, that was the east side. Back where my uncle's little thriving store was and made him very successful.
Over the railroad. When you went, I don't know, north, south, whatever.
I apologize for cursing, by the way.
Oh, it happens. There were the railroad tracks north from our neighborhood, but there was that a metal that you could get. It was a thin strip, and there was maybe
Holes.
yes,
Yeah.
and you would fold it over,
Make whistles.
yes.
I could never whistle with those things.
I couldn't but you cut because the corners were so sharp. And all these, nobody else has heard of it. And then after a while, we would go back and look for more.
The strap, yeah.
Because at one of the football games, threw my hands up because something great happened, threw my whistle in my Jolly Ranchers and never found my whistle. And
Did you ever use one of those as a whistle? I mean, we never washed it. We cut it. We folded it. We folded it twice. And I could never whistle from it, so I would lay in bed at night.
That's because you
and teach myself how to whistle, and I finally did. So I can whistle for.
Oh,
I could whistle for. That's how That's how I called my kids home.
You just folded it once.
Oh, we did it twice. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And then fold it.
Oh,
and
that's
then
why
they
it
would,
didn't work.
I didn't do it, but everybody else could do it.
Fold it over
and we never washed it, and we put it in our mouths. Yeah, from the railroad tracks.
Which is why we are much healthier than kids anymore. One of the things my dad always said, problem with the kids today is they don't eat enough dirt.
You know what? Can I go back to Skate Island for a moment?
Oh, tripping down memory lane. Let's roll.
Can I go back to Skate Island for a moment? I don't know about your parents, but you know where I lived. But we would get done skating from the last session at Skate Island, and we would walk home. No problems, no worries. It was dark at night, and kids can't do that now. It's just sad.
How
Very
far away
sad.
were you? If you were to say, to give everybody else an idea, 8 blocks a mile.
Well, if you can cross.
Which they say equates to 16 city blocks. Although what's, yeah.
At least. What would you say from where I lived? I would say probably about 4 miles.
What?
Across town? Yeah, we would walk.
We never walked home.
Yeah, from.
But
and at that time, their skating rink was in the middle of a cornfield. So,
yeah,
surrounded by cornfield.
The only thing, remember, across, what is that big street? Is it Capitol?
Capitol.
The Library Lounge and Steakhouse. And they had the fire in the middle.
Yeah, that was the only thing
that
was in that area.
That was it.
And then later there was the strip mall there, right?
Yeah, that came later.
Yeah, because I worked at a record store in that strip mall for a short time.
The record shop.
No, the record shop was like the corporate store that was in the Conestoga Mall, but there was an independent record store there, which I also worked in a record shop, but that was like in high school. But then it was called Dusty's Records, and it was a guy. Dusty, yeah, it was a guy. I think he was in Hastings or Kearney, one of the two. He had a store there, and then he expanded and had a store in Grand Island. It was like the underground indie, a lot hipper than your
Dirt Cheap here. Game Gallery.
Oh,
by the
exactly.
way, the name of that place was, I think, Game Gallery. Was that the name of the thing in the mall?
Fun Factory. Fun Factory.
Factory.
I remembered it after we talked about it. I remembered it. Yeah, Fun
Where's
Factory.
Game Gallery? That's got to be somewhere in Lincoln then. Yes, Fun Factory. I spent many a quarter in that place.
Oh yeah, Popeye was my game. I played the Popeye game. Remember that one?
No.
Coleco made a Popeye game.
No, huh?
It was pretty fun.
Air hockey and pinball machines. That was one of our classmates. Her mother was the manager of the bookstore. And I think I'd mentioned this before. And we had book covers to cover them, but we would get to choose books and take them home and read them. And then we had to come back and give a report so that when people came in the bookstore, because she
could tell them about it.
Yeah, if they asked, she read a lot of books, and that was one of the things that the staff had to read books, so that when people would come in, they would have. Yeah, so I got to read many, many books free. You couldn't bend them. You had to be very careful.
Yeah,
and they were the plastic book covers that had the bookmark on it and attached, kind of like a Bible cover. That have those.
Yeah, the vinyl covers. Yeah.
Okay, and who else? They don't do it anymore. Do you remember taking the brown paper sacks and making book covers?
Yes, I do.
Did you ever do that?
Sure.
And there was
There
was a science to being able to get it nice and taut.
Yeah, I was good at that. I was really good at that, so I covered all of ours.
And then you could write notes all over, and if you had a boyfriend or girl, you would usually put that on the inside cover for a while.
And if you had artist friends,
so nobody could see it?
Draw.
Yes. And then if it kind of became a big deal, their name could be on the outside. But then if you broke up, of course you had to go make a new book cover.
Oh,
that could be costly. End of the year, you're talking
3-4 books.
A lot of brown papers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, paper sacks.
My shortest relationship last part of a day. I remember
Do you even get to count it, really?
I say relationship, of course, ironically. I don't think you count it. I remember must have been 7th grade, and there was a girl, I think I had a kind of a crush on her a little bit. And at one point, she like turned around to me and she said, what did we say? We didn't say, do you want to go out? We said, do you remember what
Will you
we
like?
said? Will you like me? That's what it was.
Will you like?
Will you like? Yeah. So she turned
So-and-so.
around and she said, will you like me? And I was like, yeah. So then she turned back around and I was like, shit, I got a girlfriend. And then the next day,
Girlfriend. I got a girlfriend.
happiest day of my life. Dee Dee Denhart was her name, if you guys remember her. Do you remember her?
I do.
Okay. I have no idea what happened to her.
She passed.
She did. I'm sorry to hear
She
that.
did pass.
Okay. Recently or?
Oh, probably within the last 10 years.
Okay. Well, I guess I brought the room down. Since we last spoke, 7 days ago? There have been how many mass shootings and how many? I know there have been 2 people killed by cops, 2 young black people killed by cops.
Well, we had murder here, but since it was only one person killed, one injured, it's not going to make the big news.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I would have guessed there were 2 mass shootings in the last week, and then I saw somewhere and there was something like 15. But most of those don't make the news because there's no sex to the story. You know, there's no quote unquote sexiness to the story. Like there's nothing to be outraged about.
Well, what I'd heard before, and they were trying to get this changed, and unfortunately, again, this is a source information problem. 4 people have to die for it to
including the shooter. Does it count if the shooter is one of those 4 or no?
I think it does, and it should.
Because often it's sad. I'm not trying to make a joke of this, but it's like I don't even remember which one's which, to be honest. But Indianapolis, I think was last week, was a shooter.
The FedEx, the 19-year-old.
Yeah,
who had red flag.
Do you know the kicker to this? He was a brony. We talked about bronies a couple of episodes back. The bronies are generally gentlemen. I guess they'd have to be a gentleman because the bro. Adult males into/obsessed with the My Little Pony cartoons, which are, of course, made for little girls. But there's a subculture of men who are really into that. Turns out the FedEx shooter was a brony. And his suicide note, if you want to call it that, on Facebook, quote, I hope that I can be with Applejack in the afterlife. Applejack would be one of the characters. I hope that I can be with Applejack in the afterlife. My life has no meaning without her. And then he killed 6 people and himself. I'm not saying all bronies are bad.
Yeah, he took out 8.
Oh, he took out 8. Okay. Again, I can't even keep them straight. But I didn't know. I had to take a semi-deeper dive into bronies to figure out what the heck's going on. My friend Bob and I used to have this thing we would call things that had too many layers to them. We called it Santa Claus golf ball shaped soap. Now, if you remember, like, there used to be these little magazines you'd get in the mail to order stupid gag gifts and things. And yeah. And there would always be golf ball shaped soap. And they would just slap a Santa sticker on it, and they call it Santa Claus golf ball shaped soap. Golf ball shaped soap is fine. That's my point. So let me try to unravel that rant. My point being, brony is enough. You don't have to be a white nationalist on top of that. But apparently there is a what do you call it when things converge? Let's call it convergence.
Yes.
Of
that's a good choice.
Bronies. Thank you. Bronies and white nationalists.
Doesn't that seem a little weird? You hate all kinds of people, but you love these little girl ponies.
I think what it is, and I'm obviously not a doctor or even one who plays a doctor on TV. These guys are I guess, what you call incels. You know, an incel is people who are they consider themselves involuntarily celibate, which means they don't want to be celibate, but through, of course, no fault of their own, they are forced to be celibate. So a lot of aggression and resentment probably comes from that. I imagine these guys put whatever feelings they have onto why a cartoon pony?
Right.
Why not Josie and the Pussycats? At least, hello, Josie and the Pussycats.
Powerful, popular girls who'd want nothing to do with him.
Speaking of those people, remember on January 6th during the insurrection riot,
right?
Stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop. Remember that? Some girl. She stole Pelosi's laptop, attempted to sell it to who she thought was a Russian agent, and it wasn't. Not only is she in a pickle, but it turns out her dad had some child pornography on his computer. He's in a little bit of trouble, too.
Uh-oh. Did they ever find the laptop?
Yeah, they did. I think it was an undercover person who contacted her, and she had attempted to buy it.
I remember them saying at one point they didn't know where it was. So she and Daddy can go in the clink together.
Yeah.
One of the main guys in the Oath Keepers, has decided he's turned to the feds. He's agreed to testify.
He's a snitch.
Apparently he has so much, they are planning to put him in witness protection.
Well, that's good news.
What does that say? That's how bad these people are?
Yeah. If you spend 5 minutes on Parler, I dip my toe in there every now and then just so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I just have to get out as fast as I can. Because imagine the worst of the worst and then add 5 to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. He goes into those kinds of ugly places, and I go to reality TV for the team.
We end up in the same place. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Walter Mondale.
Yes. I know.
Fritz. I'm sure doesn't want to be known as he only won one state, right? When he ran against
2.
Reagan in 1980, I think. 2. Oh, I thought he only won his home state, and then he won in New Hampshire, probably. Or
we were working, and I just heard that little tidbit on the news, and so I would honestly have to look back and see.
It was the biggest landslide, I think, in modern history, as far as that goes, or kind of the only landslide, at least electorally speaking.
Oh, no, okay, because Donald would tell you who did an hour-long or however long Sean's show is. Donald did a big, fat, long interview with him, spewing numbers that, of course, he never has any facts, any data to back up anything he was saying. The tidbits that I caught, oh, my word, it was terrible.
Well, his son tweeted or something, posted, did you see this yesterday? It was Joe Biden will never accomplish as much as my father did. And then it's a montage of photos of Trump's illustrious 4 years. But each photo, these are photos that I would choose to show you how awful he was. It's the photo of, it's like the photo of him yelling at the kid on his lawn. Remember that? The kid's mowing his lawn or whatever. All the photos of him that became memes as far as how awful he was, those are, now, is Don Jr. trolling his dad, or is he that stupid? Of him holding the Bible upside down? You know, all the photos that we would hold up as ridicule. These are maybe he thinks those are accomplishments. I don't know. Maybe he's just on coke. I don't know.
Could be.
Well, I do know.
On all accounts. Although he says he's not.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I deny it too.
Oh, and did you see how Ivanka posted getting her first shot? And
no.
She got trolled something fierce.
I was hoping her first shot would be between the eyes.
Ooh.
Oh, hey, this is parody. This is satire and parody. Fair use. Don't come after me. Nobody's suggesting anybody gets killed.
I know. I was just like, oh.
I'm like, too many crazies in the world.
Yeah, we don't need another one.
Although the crazies are usually...
I don't usually know one. How's that?
The crazies live more on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, they live and walk among us.
Oh, so I have yet to comment on the lovely governor of this state. He turned away... Prickets?
Yes.
It's P. Ricketts, so it's Prickets.
Oh, yes, Prickets.
Turned away any of the children because he said, then unfortunately this is not verbatim, but he doesn't want them to come in and hurt the children of our state. And we need to keep all of our money and attention on the kids who need it. Now, while they continue to cut programs and do all kinds of nothing. However, people should be able to carry guns whenever, wherever. You don't need a class. You don't need a permit. And that's where I draw the line, though. I mean, don't you think people should have a safety class and have a permit to carry?
Yeah, I took it.
Yeah. I had, my son was going to go hunting with cousins and uncles. And the one guy in charge, who they were going out to one of his farms, was like, you will not shoot a gun out here. Until you've had a safety class, until you have been trained. And it wasn't the first time he'd shot little guns out at the family reunion on the rifle range and stuff. But I mean, that's just safety for yourself.
Yeah. And for the owner of the land. It's,
yes.
It's, as long as anybody who's been on his property is taking responsibility for them being able to shoot and him making sure that they are being responsible.
And would you want somebody with a gun in a store and they pull the gun up, they haven't had a safety class, they haven't had any training at all, and they don't have a permit, they don't know the safety's not on, and they pull it out, boom.
Yeah.
If it was as easy or difficult to own and operate a handgun as it is to own and operate a motor vehicle, we would be okay with that?
I think there needs to be.
They're both
registration, insurance, all that.
Because you can, and I had said this before, and people always do the drunk driving comparison, which if I were still bartending and I was serving somebody to the point where they got drunk, they got in an accident and killed someone else, the bar can get sued, the bartender gets sued because you are responsible. Then in that same vein, if somebody who hasn't been trained and goes out and shoots somebody. Is the salesperson responsible? Is that gun shop responsible? They allowed merchandise out of their shop without the person being able to safely do so. I'm not against gun ownership by any means. We own guns. I am for responsible.
I think people in New York have a different relationship to. I mean, I grew up around guns. My father was a gun owner, and I wouldn't say he was a collector, but he had probably a half dozen rifles in his collection. He liked to do, I don't know what you call it, but like on the wooden gun stock, he would do these designs with like carving. Yeah. It was like his hobby, and he really loved doing it, But from day one, I was taught gun safety. Just the obvious stuff. You never point a gun at anybody, whether it's loaded or not. You assume every gun is loaded. Yeah. You never go in front of a person who has a gun. Just the no-brainers. But in New York, you don't grow up with that because there aren't guns here. I mean, the only guns that are here are people who shouldn't be using them. So
not necessarily.
For the most part, I mean, in the city, I'm saying it's almost impossible to get a concealed carry permit in New York City.
Right.
You have to be Robert De Niro, basically. I mean, you really have to be somebody who can prove that there's a need for it, like that you've received threats for your safety and stuff like that. So I don't walk down the street feeling, it doesn't cross my mind that somebody might have a gun. It just never really occurs to me.
Right, right.
I've seen people here with them, and it makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. There's a bar or restaurant where the guy, oh, yeah, everybody can. I'd never step foot in there.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, they should not be carrying them while they're consuming alcohol.
Amen.
Exactly.
That's asking. That's an invitation.
That's not being a responsible gun owner.
Yeah.
They were trying to force that here. That bar owners should have to let people bring a weapon into a bar.
You can't.
Two things don't go together.
Right.
Yeah. Again, I'm no doctor, but I kind of think walking into a bar with a gun is a sign of mental illness. Call me crazy.
And then if you're bragging about it and you're telling people you got it, hey,
yeah,
this guy's got one. He's got a gun. He's drinking alcohol. Yeah. You're serving him.
And then I'd be afraid if I were the bartender to tell him to leave.
Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. Bartenders have their hands full anyway with drunks. You don't need somebody with a gun. Speaking of De Niro, did you hear that Bobby is he's broke apparently because of COVID? He's what happened is one of his ex-wives, whom he owes spousal support to, I guess, and I confuse his ex-wives, but one of them has asked the judge to increase her monthly allowance from $50,000 to $100,000.
Yeah, because how are you going to buy on $50,000 a month?
So he argued that because of COVID, he hasn't been working because there's no film industry. His other sources of income being Nobu, the restaurant, which is closed, his hotel, which is closed. Anyway, just kind of an amusing story that he's, I would imagine he invested some of those dollars, some of those Meet the Fockers bucks. Yeah. So
I'm a De Niro fan, so I hope he's okay.
I love him. I absolutely love him. It also makes you wonder, like, how can a person justify needing $100,000 a month from someone else? I mean, I would love to have $100,000 a month, but nobody owes me that. Even if I married them for a couple of years, nobody owes me that.
How can you not get by on $50,000 a month?
Exactly.
Something tells me I could
probably make that
scrape my way through.
Yeah, you cut out the avocado toast.
I'd have to pinch some pennies, but let's see what I could come up with.
We tighten our belts. We can, President Ford says if we all work together and tighten our belts, we can get through this.
Yeah.
With inflation now.
Oh, no, it could be tough. I could see how it could be a challenge. Do you think you'd be able to do it, Tammy?
I don't know. I already told you my story about pennies, nickels, and diming it just so I could buy a gallon of paint. I already told you about my story.
I just think that's when greed just gets ridiculous. Bernie Madoff passed away.
Yay! His only mistake was that he stole from the rich. Stealing from the poor is fine. You can't steal from the rich.
No, you steal from the poor, you get away with it. You steal from the rich.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only reason he got caught. What did he die of? Do we know? I guess he was kind of old.
83.
So. Okay.
He'd been sick with something because the family wanted him to be able to come home during COVID. Unfortunately, he's perhaps not quite as important as Paul Manafort, who did get to come home.
Ah, yes.
And
Michael Cohen. Didn't Michael Cohen get released because of his... They sent him back. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Alexei Navalny is in prison and people are he's not doing well at all.
He's about to go.
And that he'd be perfectly healthy except for. And they don't. I mean, that would be very bad for him, I think, if he passes away.
Now, the story with him is that he was the quote-unquote opposition to Putin, and he was poisoned.
By Putin's people.
Nearly died. But then he came back to Russia. Right. But then wasn't he safe out of it, but decided to come back for some reason? And now he's in the hospital there? The whole story confuses me.
They picked him up from the airport and took him to prison. And they were doing something. He wasn't getting proper care because then he started to complain about pain in his legs. And he wasn't really able to use one leg and the other one was going. Then something in his back and he just wasn't getting medical care. So then he went on a hunger strike. And 19 days, I want to say. And they were going to force feed him. But now he's in the hospital and he's not doing well at all. But that Marina... Boo, 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 boo. Who had been a Russian informant who went to prison for a while and then went back and is a national hero over there.
Yeah.
She was the person, Butina. She was the one person who got to go in and see him. Not a good doctor, not anything like that. And she came out, oh, it's great. The facilities are great. He's receiving great treatment. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Hey, he's right next to Miss Cavige's wife.
Oh, my gosh.
Spread the love around. Yeah. Sometimes when I am sitting by myself, those quiet moments when I'm with no one else, I'm mesmerized by all the many good things in my life. I think about the time when I was younger, and the older that I get, the more that I feel wiser. The love of friends and family gets stronger, and it carries me on through. Shines bright and I feel peace like nowhere else. I know I'm in good health and life keeps going on.